Good day, American government students. I am Matt Lees. I'm your instructor for this semester. What I'm going to do in this video is give you an orientation of the course, show you how to more or less get around it, navigate it, and walk you through. So let's start with SIC's incredibly sexy website, sic.edu. Once you're here, you'll go ahead and click on Falcon Portal. If you've never taken an online class before with SIC, what you'll need to do is actually come down to setup instructions. It'll walk you through step by step in terms of how to get that set up. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do that with you. Just go ahead and hit login. This takes you to the app page. Our LMS, Learning Management System, is going to be Canvas. Go ahead and select that. What you'll see is all of the classes that you were enrolled in this summer. Hopefully your dashboard does not look like my dashboard. I'm teaching 3 classes this summer. But the one you're looking for here is American Government 121 OM Summer Term. Go ahead and click that. This takes you to the home page. I developed this myself. Some instructors will just use basically what amounts to just the modules page. I like this approach because it just gives you some buttons to kind of help you quickly jump around to major areas within the course itself. So the very first thing I want to focus on is making sure you have the correct books for the course. We've got American Government and Politics Today. This is the primary text. Because this is an online class, there's not going to be in-person lectures. There's not going to be note-taking. So when it comes to the module tests, and every single week there's going to be multiple module tests, it's going to be based on that text. So you have to have that. Fortunately, SIC, due to some bonus funding, is actually doing free textbook rentals. So you can actually rent that text free of charge. Yes, you heard me say it, folks. Free of charge. So get your hands on that. There's also a secondary text you'll see here, which is Founding Brothers. There's going to be an analytical paper due at the very end of the course with Module 6. You'll need to have this every single week. I'm going to assign you a chapter to read there, a couple chapters actually. And you'll have to actually write a paper based on this book. You might be saying, well, Mr. Lees, I have not read a book since the Harry Potter days. Folks, let not your heart be troubled. There is some options with this. Number one, you need to read it. But the fortunate thing is, if you actually go to YouTube, if you search Founding Brothers by the great one Joseph Ellis, you'll actually find a full audio version of that book. So that, if you're more of an auditory learner, if it helps to actually hear someone read the book to you, that would be a nice resource. I'd recommend having both. I would have the physical book in front of you. I would also use the audio book. But the critical piece is you need to read that book. You need to read that book. And it's actually, historically, my students really enjoy that book. So those are the texts you're going to need for this semester: American Government, Politics Today, and Founding Brothers. I thought I just kind of walk you through some of the basic elements of the course. So using the home page I've developed, go ahead and click Start here. And this is the orientation of the course itself. So here you're going to have a video where you hear me introduce myself. Watch that. Second video is what you're actually watching right now, which is the course orientation. Then below we have all of the introductory materials that you're going to need to get yourself more or less orientated in terms of the course itself. So I have a little bit of a welcome here. I'm not going to walk you through and read that to you. You can do that yourself. We have the course syllabus. We have the course handbook and the frequently asked questions section. I'll just click on the frequently asked questions just as an example. So you'll notice what's nice about Canvas is if you don't have Microsoft Word, which by the way, if you don't have that, SIC will provide that for you free of charge. But if maybe you're using a Chromebook or you're using a Mac, something like that, you don't have to have Word for these documents to pull up for you. So here's just some basic questions students have historically had about the course itself. So read through these materials. It'll give you a good sense of what my my policies and procedures are going into the course. I would also look at the course syllabus as well, because that'll more or less kind of lay out what the semester is going to look like procedurally. And one thing I will focus on here within the syllabus is, and you all know this, this isn't just a mini semester class. In the summer, I always tell my students, it's quite literally twice the material in half the time. What you've done this semester is you've taken this a step further. This is what's called a mini semester. So instead of an 8-week semester, we're taking 16 weeks. We're compressing it not just down to 8 weeks like a traditional summer semester. This is all the way down to 5 weeks. So a critical element in this class is you can't fall behind. Do not fall behind. This is going to be basically every weekend here is going to be the equivalent of about 2.5 or 3 weeks in a regular semester. So it's going to move very quickly. The good news is the class is going to be over very quickly, just over a month, and you'll have this class out of the way. So that way, come early June, you're done with this, and you have the rest of the summer to do whatever you want to do with it. The bad news is, of course, it's going to be intense. So if you're working multiple jobs, if you're planning on vacationing during this time period, unless you're in a situation where maybe you're in a cabin but you have terrific internet access out there and you have time, that's fine. But if you're going to be on a cruise ship, you don't have Wi-Fi, you're out there in the Caribbean floating around somewhere, not a good idea to be taking this class and to hope to do well, because even missing 1 week is going to be devastating. So just wanted to let you know about that. So this is a 5-week class. And these are basically the major areas of study we're going to be covering. So here's your textbooks. I talked about those. Here's the specific information about those. Again, SIC provides those free of charge for you. You can do that renewal program. You can see that there is 1,100 points available in the class. And here's actually the assignment description of the Founding Brothers paper. One thing I would recommend doing is actually printing this out. And if you actually go into down here on resources, I actually have a direct link to the analytical paper assignment description. As you're reading the book, I would have this in front of you, because there's actually a number of questions I want you to address in the paper itself. So have this in front of you. Be taking notes as you're reading the book. Highlight it, mark all over it. And by the way, the bookstore is not going to get upset with you if you highlight the text. You don't get any additional bonus points or money from the bookstore if you turn the book back in pristine condition. Obviously, don't rip out pages or anything crazy like that, but ultimately engage it. Make notes, take notes, actively be writing and thinking about these questions as you're reading the text. So that would be my recommendation. So that is basically all these. Once you've read all of this, all these materials, in the Start Here section, if you go back to the home page, you'll actually find the modules, and this is where all of the material for the course can be found through here. So week 1, we have module 1. What you'll notice is this is the only week that we don't have multiple modules. So once we go to week 2, we have modules 2 and 3. Week 3, we have the midterm in module 4. Week 4, we have modules 5 and 6, and then week 5, we have the final exam and an extra credit opportunity. So this first week is actually, in terms of the material, the lightest. So my recommendation would be is don't wait until the modules due the following Wednesday at 6 o'clock. I would jump on this early, and I have the course actually set up to where all these materials are available. So you can actually, if you want to, you can work ahead on the material. You don't have to wait. And that way, maybe you have more time now. Maybe you want to get a head start on the course. I'd recommend doing that. As a student myself, I always appreciate the ability to work ahead. So if you want to, I would avail yourself of that, especially that first week, because the next module is a lot more difficult in terms of the material. So what we have, the first thing you're going to do, and I'll just kind of walk you through module 1. Go ahead and click on Summary and Guide. And this kind of lays out a short thumbnail of what I want you to do. So it says go to that Start Here page if you haven't done so already, so that way you can orientate yourself to the course. Then go and read chapter 1 in your textbook. Then you're going to read the preface in chapter 1 of Founding Brothers. There's a pre-test you're going to complete, a scavenger hunt quiz, a discussion question, and of course the test that we talked about, chapter 1 test. So you might be saying, well, Mr. Lees, this lays this out, but it doesn't really tell me how to prepare. That's why you're going to go down here to resources and look at the handout, because this has a comprehensive listing of all of the assignment descriptions. So you'll scroll this down, and one thing that I will emphasize when it comes to preparing for the chapter test, folks, look at these learning objectives. Look at these learning objectives. I can tell you this, about 80% plus of the material you need for the test is going to come from either these learning objectives, or within the textbook, there's these little slices of life found in bold black called key terms. A number of questions are based on these key terms. So as you're reading through the book, don't do so passively. Make notes, take notes, answer these learning objectives, also know those key terms. That's going to help you immensely when it comes to that module 1 test over chapter 1. Good news is all my tests are open book and open note. Bad news is my tests are open book and open note, meaning that they're timed, and sometimes you spend all your time pouring through the book trying to find the answers, and before you know it, time's expired. So my suggestion is make notes, familiarize yourself with that chapter, especially focus on those learning objectives and key terms. That's going to be a tremendous help for you. So those are the learning objectives. This is kind of just the bullet of what I want you to do in terms of the reading. I have a little bit of these chapter summaries on here as well that you should read through, that kind of distills the material we're going to be talking about. So down here, this is the actual assignment descriptions associated with those assignments I gave you before. We get the scavenger hunt quiz that's going to basically just make sure that you've read and understand that Start Here tab and all those materials, that you actually are familiar with the course, familiar with the policies, you've read the handbook, the syllabus, the outline, and so it just asks basic questions about the course itself, like things like what day of the week are modules due. Guys, are always due on Wednesdays. There's always due at 6 p.m. Keep in mind, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. So I don't do midnight. I know a number of instructors do set their deadlines at midnight. I don't do that for one main reason, which is I'm not a zombie. I'm not up at midnight. So if you have experienced a problem with the course and it's midnight, I'm not going to be able to respond to you. 6 p.m. I can do. I can definitely do. So I do that for my benefit, but also for your benefit. So it's always going to be Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. So the scavenger hunt quiz is more or less going to ask you basic questions about that to make sure you understand those policies. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to complete this pretest. Great thing about the pretest, it requires no preparation. What I'm doing is just kind of measuring how much information you have coming into the course, and that establishes a baseline of your knowledge. Then I'm going to give you the same test at the end of the course. It magically becomes a post-test. Guys, this does not grade you. It grades me as an instructor. It more or less kind of shows the trajectory of learning throughout the course of the semester. Hopefully it goes up like this. It doesn't go down throughout the course of the semester. So you can take that without any preparation. If you do poorly on that, let not your heart be troubled. Again, I'm looking at this pretest in terms of how the class does as a whole, as a collective, not how you do individually. So you'll take that, and then here's how you prepare for the Chapter 1 test. So I once again say know those key terms, know those learning objectives, those sorts of things. Now also underneath that is the assignment description for the discussion question, where you will actually introduce yourself to your classmates. I kind of do a fun little exercise with this. As you're doing this, I want you to embed 2 truths about yourself, but also 1 lie. Then your classmates will try to guess your lie. So have fun with this, be creative. Think about some of the most unusual things you've done in your life and work those in there. I'm participating in this as well. So you'll have the opportunity to do that with me as well. So folks, in essence, that's module 1. So this, again, if we go back here, navigate out of here. So that is the summary and guide. Always start there on every single module, because that contains not only the short bullets in terms of the reading assignments you're going to have, but also down here with the handout has all those detailed assignment descriptions. So always start here with the summary and guide. Here is just the individual assignments you'll complete. So you'll click on those, and that will launch these quizzes when you're ready for them. So that's module 1. I don't want to go through each module because you can kind of do that yourself. I'm already up to about 17 minutes, so that's pretty much as long as I want to go on this orientation. A couple more things on the homepage. So when you come here, you'll also see here's a quick link to your syllabus. Here's your grade book, direct link to your discussion question. This is the announcements page. I will make announcements throughout the semester, so you click on those to read those. You'll also receive an alert when that happens as well. And there's also a Your Professor page. This kind of talks about me, about my background. So go ahead and read that. They'll kind of tell you a little bit about me, and this is my lovely and gracious wife, Angela, and my 3 kids. So folks, in essence, that's kind of a thumbnail of the course, how to navigate it. Keep in mind, if you ever have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. Some people think, well, Mr. Lees, you teach online because you must not like people. Nothing can be further from the truth. One of the greatest joys I have is interacting with you. I could be doing, by the way, 1,000 different things. I love teaching. I love interacting with students. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have a question about the content, which, by the way, if you want to reach out to me, you can do so immediately through email. Go ahead and click contact, and that will automatically pull up my email address. So reach out to me. If you're more comfortable doing Zoom, I can schedule a Zoom with you, and I can share my screen and kind of walk through different areas of the course, answer any questions. Don't feel like you're the Lone Ranger here. I'm here to help you in any way possible. I'm excited about this course. This is a terrific time to be taking a class in American government. Guys, we're on the cusp of an election year. We have a primary election year, a hotly contested, if you hadn't noticed, race for Illinois governor. We've got 5 Republicans seeking that nomination. That election is going to happen during this course. So not to mention the national events that are taking place. So we have a lot to talk about. It's going to be a fun semester. I'm looking forward to spending it with you. And I also want to commend you for taking a class this summer, choosing to use your time this summer to take a class. I think that says a lot about you. My summer students, because of this, are historically my best students. So I couldn't be any more excited to be teaching this class. I'm looking forward to getting to know you folks. And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to see you all next time.